For 5 years, our life was a montage of laughter, late-night talks, and shared ambitions. When Laura's eyes finally met mine, the shock was quickly replaced by a cold, unapologetic glare. "Ethan, it's not what it looks like," she stammered. But it was exactly what it looked like. It was betrayal in its rawest form. That night, the argument was a storm of tears, accusations, and heartbreaking truths. She confessed it had been going on for months. She called our life stale and predictable. She said Harrison offered her an excitement I couldn't provide. Each word was a dagger, twisting deeper into the wound. He had promised her a partnership in a new design firm he was launching, a life of luxury and status I was still years away from affording. She had traded our 5 years of love and shared dreams for a shortcut to the top. I packed a bag in a daze, the sound of my own shattered heart echoing in my ears. I left the apartment, the lilies wilting on the floor, and walked out into the cold night, a ghost of the man I was just an hour before. The first few weeks were a blur of pain and anger. Seeing them at work was torture. Harrison would walk around with a smug grin, while Laura avoided my gaze, acting as if I were a stranger. They were flaunting their new relationship, and my humiliation was their public spectacle. I was broken, but as the initial shock wore off, a new feeling began to simmer beneath the surface. A cold, hard resolve. They had destroyed my life, my career prospects, my heart. They thought I was just a casualty, a stepping stone. We're about to find out how wrong they were. I wasn't going to just lie down and be defeated. I was going to get my revenge. The plan started to form in the quiet of my new, empty apartment. I knew Harrison's biggest weakness wasn't his arrogance, but his desperation to land the massive Phoenix Tower project. It was the contract that would make or break his career, the very project he had me working on tirelessly for months. He had stolen my life. I was going to steal his legacy. Began working in secret, fueled by caffeine and a burning desire for justice. I spent every waking hour outside of the office refining my designs for the Phoenix Tower, not as Harrison's subordinate, but as his rival. I knew every flaw in his proposal because I had helped build it. Now I would exploit those flaws. I compiled all the evidence of their affair, the texts I had seen, the timelines that didn't add up, a sworn statement from a friendly coworker who had seen them together. But I knew that just exposing the affair wasn't enough. It would be messy, unprofessional. My revenge had to be elegant, precise, and devastating. The key was the Phoenix Tower project. I reached out to a rival architectural firm, one Harrison loathed. I presented them with my portfolio, including my vastly improved, innovative, and more cost-effective designs for the Phoenix Tower. They were blown away. They saw the potential not just to win the project, but to publicly dismantle Harrison's firm in the process. They hired me on the spot, giving me a senior position and the resources I needed. The day of the final presentation to the city council and the developers was like a scene from a movie. Harrison stood at the podium, his voice oozing false confidence as he presented his uninspired, overpriced design, the one I knew inside and out. He finished to polite, lukewarm applause. Then it was my turn. I walked up, representing my new firm. The look of pure shock on Harrison's and Laura's faces was the first taste of victory. I saw the panic flicker in their eyes. I began my presentation. With calm precision, I laid out my vision. I didn't just present a building. I presented a landmark, sustainable, community-focused, breathtaking piece of architecture. And then, for the final blow, I addressed the budget. Mr. Harrison's proposal, I said, my voice steady, is not only aesthetically dated, but it's also financially irresponsible. My analysis, based on intimate knowledge of the project's development, shows significant budget inflation in several key areas. I presented a side-by-side comparison, exposing how Harrison had padded the numbers, likely to skim profits. The room buzzed. The council members were scribbling notes, their expressions grim. I had exposed him not just as a poor architect, but as a potentially fraudulent businessman. The aftermath was swift and beautiful. The council launched an immediate investigation into Harrison's firm's finances. The Phoenix Tower contract was awarded to my new firm. Harrison was fired, his reputation in tatters. The media caught wind of the scandal, and his name became synonymous with failure and corruption. And Laura? The new design firm Harrison had promised her vanished like a mirage. When his career imploded, he dropped her without a second thought. She had hitched her wagon to a falling star. A few weeks later, she called me, her voice trembling. She cried, she apologized, she said she had made the biggest mistake of her life. She asked if we could talk, if there was any chance to fix what she had broken. I listened silently until she was finished. Then, I said, Laura, you didn't just make a mistake. You made a choice. You chose a shortcut over loyalty and ambition over love. I've made my choice too. I choose to move on, and I hung up. There was no anger left, just a quiet sense of closure. They say living well is the best revenge. I disagree. For me, calculated, brilliant, and devastatingly effective revenge is the best revenge. I didn't just get my life back. I built a better one on the ruins of the one they tried to destroy. And that victory tastes sweeter than any love I thought we had. Thanks for listening to my story. It was a tough chapter, but it taught me so much about my own strength. If you've ever been through something similar, know that you can come back from it stronger than ever. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the story, and subscribe for more content. See you in the next one.